Welcome to the Community Forum. My name is John Goliatino. I'm your host, excuse me. This evening I have the Danberry JCs, of which I was a member years and years ago. The latest version is here to discuss what's up with the Danberry JCs. With me is Kate Jackson, who's their business development person, along with Ellen Healy, that handles the management development area, and Karen Andres, who's the chairman of the board. I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having us, Joe.
You're welcome. First, let's give a little background on your, a little bit about yourself and how you got into the JCs and what you're currently doing, a little bit about that, so that people know and understand you better.
Certainly. My name's Kate Jackson. I'm the Business Development Vice President for the Danberry JCs, of which I've been a member since 2003. Thoroughly enjoy it. I've been involved in a lot of different community organizations within the local community, being born and raised in Danberry and staying in Danberry all of my life. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors with the Connecticut Junior Chamber, and there I serve as Region 1 Director, which, being as that is, I oversee half of the chapters in the state of Connecticut. I enjoy it a lot, and that's why I'm here today.
You're a glutton for punishment.
I certainly am.
long time of service.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
John. I'm Ellen Healy, and I'm the Management Development Vice President. We handle the Ways and Means projects for the chapter, fundraisers, and things like that. I started with the JCs in 1997 in hearing what all the wonderful things my cousin was doing in the Enfield JCs. Every time I'd call him up and try to talk to him, oh, he's in Hawaii, he's at this conference, he's doing this fun project. You can't, I could never reach him. Right. So I actually went, I said, what is this JCs? I said, I have to look this up. And I actually went looking for them. And I started with the phone book, started looking, and I found a number. And somebody got back to me, and the president of the Danberry JCs got back to me. And I've had, like I said, a love affair with the Danberry JCs ever since. And I used to live in Enfield. About 20 years ago, I moved. It's funny, I actually moved on my 19th birthday to Danberry. And I've been a JC ever since, and I've loved it. It's been a great outlet for me. And it also taught me leadership training and project management and things like that. So
it's made you the person you are today.
Yes, it proved me. I wouldn't have been on this show. I would have been too afraid to go in front of the camera. It just brought me out of my shell, and it's been a great experience.
Wow. Very good. Okay, Karen?
Hi, John. I'm Karen Andrews. I'm the chairman of the board this year for the Danberry JCs. I grew up in Danberry, and I went to Western Connecticut State University here. And after graduating, I worked for attorney Ray Lubis, who was very involved with the junior chamber here in Danberry and got me to become a member. And I stayed with the Danberry JCs all through going to law school up in Massachusetts. And I am now an attorney for the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation. But my Danberry JC experience and experience in other aspects of the JCs has helped me in that career path. Okay, great.
Well, we've been talking about JCs, but the question then is, what are JCs? And maybe we can get into a little bit of history. I know it started about 1913, but in this area it didn't start till it was informally organized during the early years of 46, 49. There was like an informal organization, but they didn't really incorporate. So there's, you could say, those are the lost years till 1954. So let's see. I think. Kate, you were going to talk about the history.
I'll take that one. I'll tackle that one.
1954 or whatever, and I can help you with some of that.
As you mentioned, the USJCs. That's right. As you mentioned, the USJCs have been in existence since 1913, and obviously the Danberry JCs have not been in existence as long, since the early 50s. So we've been in existence for over 50 years strong. So, it's not just a local organization here at the Danberry level, but it's also an international organization. Back in about the 1960s, we became JCI, partnered with them. So it's JCI, which is Junior Chamber International. As a member of the Danberry JCs, you're a member of JCI, and incorporated in JCI is the US JCs,
right,
and also the Connecticut JCs. There's certain states, any state that has chapter members has a state JC organization. So there's many different facets and levels to the organization movement, and lots of different history with each one of those, as I'm sure you can guess. But Danberry since the early 50s, and it's still been going strong. Great organization.
Right. Now you mentioned two names, so just so people understand. It started out as the Junior Chamber of Commerce, and then became JC's was like the nickname.
Correct.
And then it was more or less adopted with Junior Chamber in the background. Right.
Right. Yeah. When you look, if you see Junior Chamber written out, you see JC.
Right.
So it was, and it's Junior Chamber of Commerce, so it's JCC. So people just started saying JCs because it's so much easier to say.
Right.
Not much of a mouthful and not as much of a tongue twister.
Right. Okay. Very good. Okay. Now, let's see. What type of leadership development? That's one of the areas that you develop people to join your organization. Is provided to Danbury JCs. If someone joining the JCs, let's say tomorrow, what could they expect a week from now or 2 weeks from now?
Certainly. Well, as I had said, that there's many different levels. There's obviously different levels, too, to the leadership that you can gain, the leadership development skills that you can gain on every level. So starting just with our local level, just becoming a member, you can chair a project, become project manager, and gain a lot of leadership skills that way. And then you can also serve on the local board of directors, just as all of us here sitting are doing. And then you gain, immeasurable amounts of leadership ability just by going through those motions. You don't necessarily see it every day, but at the end of the year, you can see the growth that you've taken in just yourself. Also at the state level, Connecticut JCs, they have quarterly conventions where they have trainers come in, train on different topics, whether it be PR, marketing, management
skills, time management, things
time management, stress busters,
speak up,
public speaking. They have a program called Speak Up, and they have the competitions at the quarterly conventions, and then also again going out to national convention. I just got back a couple weeks ago from San Diego. It's a hard trip to go out to, probably harder to come back from, but while I was there was a lot of training opportunities, a lot of presenters, and the one that sticks out most in my mind from that particular trip was Dave Pelzer, who's an author of a lot of best-selling, I think it's 6 best-selling books, most famously A Child Called It. Captivating to listen to, speaks very candidly, very intriguing, and he's part of the Power of Hours presentation seminars that they put together for the national conventions. Their motivational speaking, it really gets you excited about what you're doing and brings you back to reality about all the good work that you do as JCs. So it's very empowering presentation to sit through, and I haven't made it out, unfortunately, to any of the international events, but up in India is coming up World Congress where JCI gets together, and again, phenomenal trainers, they bring the best in for us, and it's just an amazing, great time, a lot of networking, but a lot of leadership development that comes out of that. It's great.
Not to throw a curveball or anything at you, but what is an example of a project that you do that helps build leadership development? Maybe you can pick one in the past year or two that you had, that how people learn, as an example to people out there that might be considering it for their kids, or for if they're them directly, or maybe they got nephews and nieces that, because it's a both male and female organization.
Certainly is, and most, I think the one that might speak to most people, and they might not even realize it was a JC project, but it was our haunted hayride that we worked in connection with the Terrywile Park Authority up at Terrywile Park. It's called the Terrywile, and it was a wonderful event. The weather just gets the best of us every year, so, but that event, if you can imagine, when you're going through a hayride, you go through each scene and you get on the hayride and you've got someone pulling the tractor and you've got someone, selling concessions to you. There's a lot of manpower that comes into that. And there's a lot of planning time that comes into that, and a lot of hard work and sweat that, it's not just something that gets put together a month prior. It's something that usually would start in January, February of the year and then would culminate in October. So there's a lot of, when you talk about leadership skills, there's a lot of management, there's a lot of planning and organization.
You do a write-up on it as to this is what we did
Right.
this, and we did this, and you know, all the steps that were involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools given to you as a
Right.
JC through the JC organization, and one of them is what they call a Chairpersons Planning Guide, or better known as a CPG in JC's world. And basically it's 10 questions, and it talks and it brings you right through the planning process so that way you don't skip any beat. And then if for some reason you fall off the hayride wagon and can't continue, as long as someone else has that document, they're able to continue right where you left off. And even to further that, you know, I know a JC who, when she was planning her wedding, used this document to make sure that she didn't miss any beat in planning
all
her
the
wedding.
points are
So
there. Yeah.
it absolutely is.
Right. I know you have a website. Maybe you can mention a website now. We'll mention it again later on, so that we got it a couple of times there. You know, because if it's been a hard day for some people out there, they might nod off later. So I'm just joking, folks. Okay.
Certainly, it's www.danberry, JC's, JAYCEES.org.
Okay, very good. Let's see here. We've made some changes here in the question. Okay, what type of community development is or involvement is offered to the Danbury JCs member, let's say?
Right, there's so many different things, and you know, one of our big stresses that we always focus on is the fact that any member coming in, you know, if you have an idea, let's talk about it, let's put it together, and we can put it into action. So we're always open to new ideas, but what we've been doing currently, just in the next coming weeks, we have what's called Halloween on the Green, where we partner with other groups such as the Kiwanis Club of Danbury, as well as City Center. It's out. It's Saturday, October 25th, from I believe 2 to 4 up on the Danbury City Green. And the first 400 costumed kids get, you know, a goodie bag with, you know, prizes, and there's pumpkin decorating and this and that, and, you know, a costume contest and parade, and a great time for the kids. And it was just a nice way to give back to the community. It's a free event, so you know, if you have a child, you know, put them into a costume, come down, they have a great time,
Or
and
if
there's
you're an
no
adult
cost.
and you got a costume, you want to come down.
I always get dressed up, so you know, it's important to do, to grab your childhood inhibitions there. But you know, that's the first event that we have coming up. But then another event that we have that's just around the corner is November 9th. It's a Sunday afternoon, and it's our Harvest Festival, which is a senior citizen dinner dance. And it's a wonderful event that we've had for over 25 years, I believe, where senior citizens, I think it's age 50 and better, they come out for a low-cost dinner and dancing. It's a whole turkey meal, and there's a whole slew of auction prizes that they can, you know, like a raffle that they can participate in. They have a great time. People line up outside like a half hour before it even opens. We have a live band, and the whole thing, being community project, is we understand that a lot of senior citizens are on fixed incomes, so they don't have a lot of money, and this is usually a big treat for them to be able to come out. So in that, we have to keep the costs low. So we raise money throughout the year to be able to keep, you know, we have some, you know, great sponsors.
I was just going to ask Ellen that question, so now you took my question
I
away.
won't say too much more than to say it's $10 a ticket, and tickets go on sale October 9th down at the Senior Center.
Okay. Let's see here. Then we got, we're up to this question here. What type of personal growth do JCs experience? Let's try to throw this one to Ellen.
Okay,
How's that?
not a problem, John.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, what we do is, one of the things that the JCs are proud of is, what's unique about the JCs is that we do have personal growth projects, which is basically what we call the individual development area, which is an area that actually works on the individual, where Kate had mentioned trainings, going to trainings. A lot of organizations don't have that personal touch to work on the actual individual, and what we do with that is they have Speak Up, which Kate had also mentioned, which is basically learning how to speak in public, or go on a wonderful forum like your show and be able to talk in front of the camera.
Yes.
And so that trains us for that kind of thing. It also trains us for if you have a job where you actually need to do a team meeting, which I actually had to do 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
I had to know how to approach my team of 30 people and talk. And
Right.
I actually got that experience through the JCs. So I was able to do, and the meeting went well, actually. So, and we also have debate, which basically teaches people how to interact and think on the fly, kind of right on the top of their head, and be able to get their point across. And we also have Write Up, which is basically like Speak Up, but it teaches you how to write professionally. So you can maybe do if you have to do a report or something for
Well,
the
how's the competition conducted? Is it like a write something up in the next 15 minutes and then we're going to hear it?
Yeah, what they do is they're usually done at the conventions, at the state conventions, and also they move on to international if you've won the state conventions. And you actually, if you sign up for write-up, you go in, and they say, okay, they don't tell you the topic until you've already decided to do write-up. They give you the topic, you say you have 30 minutes to write, here's the topic. And you're in a room with other people who have also decided to do write-up. And they judge how you did, and they will give you critique after. See, you know, what you need to improve on, and how you can maybe better your writing. And that is what trains you to keep going. You don't just stop there. You might do it like each quarter and see if you can get better. At the end of the year, you might win.
And then at the end of the year, you might go to a national convention, and you might be number 5 in the country, or you might be number 1, depending on how well you do.
Yep. And
whether it's speak up or write up, for that matter.
And I also wanted to mention that our debate team from Connecticut, which consists of 3 members, each debate team has 3 members, and our debate team was from, there's one person from South Windsor, one person from Southington, and one person from Meriden JCs, and they won the national convention. They were number 1 in the United States for debate.
Wow.
And this was just this past March, so that was a real treasure, a real pleasure that we had. So,
what was the final topic? I'm just curious.
You know, I honestly don't remember what the topic was.
I don't recall either, actually.
I
think I was
Of course, I asked the question and nobody knows, but
I don't remember what the topic was,
Right.
but when I got the email from our program manager for debate, we were all like, oh, you know, it was just phenomenal.
It might have been oil or something, and it slipped away. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Let's see here. As professionals, how does being a Danberry JC improve your professional career? Now, Karen, this was written for you, right? No? No?
I can answer that. That's
okay.
fine. I did go through law school and become a lawyer during being involved with the Danberry JCs. And once I graduated law school and passed the Connecticut bar, I was able to gain actual experience as an attorney through being legal counsel for the Danberry JCs. And then the following year, I was able to be the legal counsel for the United States Junior Chamber and do contracts with sponsors and vendors on the national level, give assistance for the different state chapters in regards to corporate governance of their chapters, because each chapter is its own legal entity and its actual company, so the corporate governance guidance there. And then that has led to help me in my professional career of being an attorney in terms of building my resume.
Okay.
Hey, Sean?
And then, Ellen, you had a
I want to add
piece.
something to that, which is also for the career. I would say about 8 years ago, I was in the, I might have ended up losing my job, not for lack of, not doing a good job, but because the person I was supporting left IBM. And I had to interview with somebody so I could stay working. And I work at IBM in Southbury. I'm an assistant. And I was interviewing with this director, and he was interviewing 2 people, myself and one other assistant. So I interviewed with him, and about a week and a half later, I found out that he chose me. And we got along great, and he became a vice president. So I supported him through his vice presidency until he ended up retiring from the company. And before he left, I actually asked him, what was it that set me aside from this other assistant? He said it was my JC experience on my resume. He said because it meant that I went outside myself, and I was unselfish, and I was giving to the community, and I went above and beyond. So maybe I would do the same thing as his assistant. And he also said that in the work environment, there are a lot of things where you're going to have to be able to be a professional, and you're going to have to know how to do projects, you're going to have to know how to run, you might have to, on the last minute, pick up a project that he's working on and run with it. And he said he knew I would be able to handle that since I had been on the board of directors of the JCs, and he said that's what that's what made him choose me. So I have a job because of JCs.
And your interviewing skills, you know, you learn that in the speak up and the write up and all these competitions that improved your abilities to move on up. That's good. Before we get into this other question, let's run the website once more. You want to answer that? Yeah, okay.
It's www.
They're picking up the paper right now, okay.
Excellent. Danberry.
Okay.
JCs, JAYCEES.org. DanberryJCs.org.
Okay. Now we got a commercial. No. Let's see here. What does a young professional have to do to become a Danberry JC? Not just a young professional, but anybody out there that really likes to get involved and improve themselves. They might be in a job and say, I want to convert, you know, from what I'm doing now and move up the
Danberry JCs, the Danberry Junior Chamber organization, is for young professionals, any young individual between the ages of 21 and 41 who is interested in leadership development, community involvement, and personal growth, as we had previously discussed. And the Danberry JCs are going to be holding an open house on Wednesday, October 22nd at Chuck's Steakhouse at 7 p.m. And Mayor Mark Boughton will be there as our keynote speaker. He's also a former Danberry JC. And so if anyone wants to come out to that, they're more than welcome to. And if they need more information, they can, of course, go to our website at www.danberryjcs.org.
Now, you regularly do this, you know, some kind of social, like every couple of months? Or,
yes,
you know.
We actually have a membership event, a formal membership event, once a month. It's usually the third Tuesday of the month, although this time our open house is on the third Wednesday. And it's structured as a networking hour, first off, from 6:30 to 7:30, so that the young professionals in the area can network with each other. And then the second hour will be some kind of training, leadership training, development, and going over what our upcoming events are. In November, on the 18th, the location is still to be determined, but we will be having a Danberry JC debate competition where we'll have 2 teams of 3 internally debate on a current issue.
Now, formal meetings, some people, man, I don't want to go to a stuffy meeting. These are not formal meetings.
They're not formal meetings.
There's laughter and there's some joking going on, and it's like an informal environment, even though you might be dressed up.
Right. People usually come from work, so they're wearing a variety of whatever everyone wears to work.
Work garb. Okay.
Right. And some of the training that we've had at these monthly events have included resume building. We had a gentleman come in and give a half-hour seminar on building profits to your business, because some of our members are entrepreneurs. We've had somebody come in from an insurance company and give advice on financial planning, especially in these economic times, and geared towards the young professionals ages 21 to 41, not those people. It wasn't geared toward people retiring now. And we've also had social...
They're out of luck.
Yeah, more social aspects of someone from Danbury Hospital came in and gave a 20-minute, informative seminar on eating healthy, eating right, and living a busy life at the same time. So every month it's something new to try and make sure we're meeting all the needs of our members.
And your formal business meeting isn't really that long anyway. During my time, I was lucky we went more than an hour. If you've got that much.
Right. The monthly event is a 2-hour time frame. The first hour is the networking. Then there's maybe a 20-30 minute of the seminar, and then the last 30 minutes is it's not really business. It's what's coming up next, so that you know what's going on, so you can make sure you come out to.
But you have like reports, and they go quickly. It's not onerous. That's
right. The reports are based on the different areas. There's the management area, the community area. So the community report is what community events are coming up, like Halloween on the Green and Harvest Fest, or what business events are coming up. We're a member of the Danbury Chamber of Commerce, so any of our members, they'll get the report on when the business network and events with the Danbury Chamber are, because they can go to those as members of the full Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Okay. Some examples of the other projects that you run during the course of the year, and we mentioned a few. We have a couple of minutes left, so maybe you can run through the year you know, starting, let's say, with January or after these projects, if there's anything in December, do you have like a holiday event?
Yeah, we usually get together for the holiday. We call
Right.
it a holiday, you know, get together, and we usually have a cookie contest and, you know,
Right.
sometimes a grab bag or something, and it takes place at part of our membership event. But then, you know, starting in January with, you know, some different community events that we have, we've done different things such as food baskets, where we get some different names from community, you know, local community organizations as to some of those that are needy. We get the community, you know, the food baskets out to them. We've done scholarships for high school seniors. We work in conjunction with City Center for Easter baskets for their Easter egg hunt down at City Green. We've done, one of the big things that we've done is we've worked together with the Mayor's office with our Mayor's Cup Golf Tournament, where funds are raised to give back to Danbury Education Foundation.
That's like one of your major fundraisers.
Yeah, that is another project that's been in existence for, I think it's 25, 26 years now. Probably goofed on the number because it's just so many and that, but a major, you know, a large project, and a lot of great sponsors, a lot of community involvement.
Back in my time, I had the fair booth and I brought the circus in, and that lasted a few years, but...
That's right. That was a project before my time.
I call myself the grandfather of the circus, and that lasted like 12 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was definitely something that was right in the same realm as the Mayor's Cup and that. Yeah, absolutely. So we do all sorts of things, and like I said before, we always try to open it up. You know, if we have someone who comes in and says, I want to do something with skateboarding or something, I don't know. We try to cater it and try to come up with, well, what is it that you want to do exactly, and we talk it out. We pull out our chairman plan and guide and go through the questions and figure out how we can put it into action.
Okay, and now you want to mention your website one more time.
Certainly, because now they have the pen and paper, because they've missed it those 5 other times.
Yeah, they were looking
make sure
around.
They have it.
Right, we want to make sure they have it. This is for all the nephews and nieces and daughters and all those other people who are hanging around at bars and doing some misfit stuff. You know, now they can have purpose in the human life.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Right.
And they can find all the information on it at
Community service.
Community service, leadership development through community service.
Okay.
And it's at www.danburyjcs.org.
Okay, any closing comments? We've got about a minute or so or less. Karen, you have any closing comments?
Just one final reminder about our open house. If anyone is interested in coming and finding out more about the Danbury JCs, or if you're interested in joining the Danbury JCs, it's going to be Wednesday, October 22nd, 7 p.m. at Chuck's Steakhouse, and Honorable Mayor Mark Boughton will also be there.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for coming on the show. I'm sure it'll be a successful event. And thank to the viewers for tuning in to the Community Forum. Tune in next week, same time, same station. I'm sure we'll have another interesting program. Good night for now, and we'll see you then.